everyone, Nary here from Drake Queen Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon, and as you can see, today we're coming back at you with another episode of No More Future, and this time I've got Sedge with me. Sedge, you've got the microphone.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry for not being here last week. Shit happened. Mainly, a fucking war broke out, and my artist lives in the country that's being invaded, so that put a bit of a hamper on things. Especially the fact that he went absent for a few days. Luckily, he's fine now. It was just the internet fading away, but I was feeling pretty anxious back then, and I didn't want it to affect the video. So that's why I missed our weekly appointment. But I'm back now. Got some more stuff to share, but we can wait until the end of the video just to share it. I think most of you are here to play the game, you know.
Alright, Sedge, that sounds good. Let me, see. Okay, here we go. Okay, so, this is where I left off. That was only like 20 minutes past, like, where we originally left off, so not too far. Alright, let's do it.
A place to stop. A place to stop. Like, I thought you'd end, like, at the end of a conversation, or, like, once he...
Oh, I didn't want to go too far, because I was afraid I might actually go into some content that you maybe didn't want me to do without you.
Nah, don't worry.
Okay.
Fine.
Alrighty. Judging from the look in his eyes, that very well appears to be the case. He can't help but feel guilty over the way you dismissed the lamb's worries so carelessly until now. That sounds terrible. Does she have any memory issues too?
Not quite. It's not like she doesn't remember, she just doesn't feel it. Or maybe she just doesn't care.
I see. So that's why you care about her lunchbox so much?
Well, there's that of course, but that's not all.
You raise a figurative eyebrow at your Caprine friend's comment, wondering what else could inspire him to go out of his way for his sister like this.
Daphne really doesn't like her job. I can imagine why. Her work sounds very tiresome and repetitive, pays barely enough to keep us afloat, and I have a feeling that they don't treat her all that well either. She never said that out loud, but I can tell.
This is all completely new to you. Your friend gave you no indication yesterday that her workplace was this toxic. You can't help but wonder how much hurt she's hiding behind that fierce personality of hers.
It's the biggest reason I care about these lunchboxes so much. It's not just about keeping her fed, it's about giving her something nice to look forward to during her day. Something that might put a smile on her face, even though I can't see it myself.
The lamb's noble intentions are sweeter than you could have imagined. Knowing that he cares about his sister to this extent is enough to put a smile on your face for an instant. Seeing the young man take care of his family so dearly is enough to remind you of yours, though that thought is far from pleasant. Had your relatives not abandoned you on your deathbed, and instead opted to remain by your side until your reawakening, would you be closer to each other than ever, or would you have drifted further and further apart? Luckily, Apollo resumes talking before you can pay that thought any further mind, setting you free from your dangerous daydreaming.
I understand this totally looks stupid and all, but if you have time, could I ask you to deliver the lunchbox instead? I go myself, but Daphne gets agitated whenever I leave the house.
Sure. I'll bring it to her. The words came out of your mouth faster than you could even think them up.
Really? You'll do it?
Of course. Like I said, I don't have any plans for today. I don't mind using my time to help out my friends. Apollo looks at first surprised by your kindness, but ultimately shows you his deep gratitude with a smile.
Awesome. I don't know how to thank you, Isaac. I'll go touch up and fetch the lunchbox real quick. Luckily I got almost everything ready before everything blew up earlier. I won't be long, so be patient, alright?
Take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
Great. Thanks again.
With a little pep at his step, Apollo heads towards the kitchen, ready to get to work on finishing up his preparations. Which, judging by how many drawers he's opening and how lost his expression looks, might take a while after all.
He seems a little weird.
While you wait for him to be done, you hear Natalie trying to strike up a conversation with you once again. Look who's talking!
Hey!
The canine feigns anger over your retort, but you can tell that she's just fooling around and that she knows you are as well. But yeah, he has some memory issues, apparently, or something like that. Don't really know the specifics, only that talking with him always feels like a one-way trip to a nursing home. Aside from that, he's a very good kid. Really cares about his sister.
Yep, I haven't noticed. Gosh, I almost started sobbing when I heard his explanation earlier. So sweet.
You laugh off Natalie's comment as a joke, though knowing the emotional Labrador, she was likely being serious.
Still, memory issues. I honestly noticed them during that whole conversation. He seemed to recall most of his stuff fairly well.
Yeah, I thought so too. He definitely doesn't suffer from amnesia or anything of the sort. Though he remembers some things but not others, seems almost selective in a way. Like, some things are easier for him to remember than others, or maybe easier to forget.
I see. You think he's faking it?
Faking it? Natalie! It's not like her theory is completely unreasonable given what you know about the lamb so far, but you can't help but take offense at the Labrador's words nonetheless.
Hey, I'm just throwing out ideas here. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just considering things is all.
Either way, that was pretty rude. We shouldn't assume people are hiding something just because we can't understand them. Besides, the way Daphne reacted when you brought it up yesterday made it clear that she's well aware of the lapses in her brother's memory and how quirky he can come off at times. If he truly is lying about his condition, then he'd be lying to his sister too, and that sounds very unlikely.
Okay, sorry. Still, as your handler, I'm supposed to keep an eye on for you, remember? Considering the unthinkable, rude though you may be, I'll stay on my toes.
Oh,
I know you'd rather...
Sorry about that.
I know you'd rather assume everything's always meant to be fine, but given the current state of affairs, someone's gotta prepare in case anything happens. Understanding what that anything could be and how to counter it, that's just number one of our jobs.
That's certainly not how you interpreted Natalie's role as your handler, but it's definitely not a wrong interpretation now that you consider it. Until both of you are certain that your mind is that of a human, you might still need a second brain helping you with important decisions from time to time, especially given how lacking your general knowledge turned out to be. I guess that makes sense, I think. Just don't go too far is all, okay? Don't let your weird ideas get in the way of our friendships. God knows I'm already paranoid enough for both of us.
That's alright. I'll keep them myself from now on, unless I think I might be onto something.
And then what?
And then we can panic together!
You're glad that Apollo can't hear your collective laughter in your head, else he'd probably start thinking you're a weirdo. It's good that Natalie's always looking for ways to help you relax, even when talking about serious topics like these. You're really glad that you have a friend like her always by your side.
Hey, sorry for taking a while. I can remember when I put my box.
The lamb comes rushing out of the kitchen holding a common shopping bag. Inside it lay a plethora of plastic containers, no doubt full to the brim with all sorts of delicacies. It's alright, don't worry. What's in it, if I may ask?
A little bit of everything, really. Some leftover spaghetti meatballs from yesterday, a few rice bowls with tuna and spice mayo made for breakfast, a couscous with rocket salad, ricotta cheese, and crispy bacon that I had to try and make at some point, a slice of leftover homemade sarchatoid that needs to go, like, today. Oh, and of course, a fresh bottle of water. Didn't forget that.
You lost him at the rice balls, truth be told. Is there truly no end to the young lamb's cooking prowess? That's really impressive.
What, the water? That's just a regular store-bought bottle, though.
Apollo, I meant the food. The food is really impressive.
Oh!
Once more, the youthful sheep seems to fall from the clouds and right into your lap, his cheeks growing redder as he realizes you're complimenting him. Seriously, did you cook all that yourself? That's amazing!
It's nothing, really. It's just a bunch of leftovers and the occasional odd experiment in the kitchen.
Still, that's much better than any lunchbox I've ever got. Hell, I think most people's lunchboxes never even get close to these levels of care and effort. Are you sure you're studying medicine and stuff? At this rate, you might just become a restaurant chef before you know it.
Oh dear. I really appreciate your comments, but I'm really not that good.
You could probably compliment and take notes from the exceedingly talented lamb the entire day, but you feel that you've said enough for the time being. After all, you have a job to do. Well, I guess I gotta deliver this to Daphne sooner or later. Could you pass me her workplace's address? Upon hearing your question, Apollo recovers some of his composure as he fiddles with his pockets with his free hand.
Sure, hold on a moment. I got it on my phone, but... Ah, there it is!
After a brief delay, he finally notices his phone lying on the counter. It's a pretty standard model, but the back is decorated with all sorts of cute stickers and accessories. It kind of looks like one of those colorful surfaces for rock climbing in a way. However, as he makes as if to reach for it, a sudden realization hits him like a truck.
Oh, right. All my stuff got totaled. I totally forgot about that.
The EMP. Right. For a second, you almost forgot about that, too.
Now that I think about it, this means I can't tell Daphne about what happened to our place either.
That's alright. I'll tell her myself when I give her the food.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Now, about our address.
How about you write it down somewhere, just to be safe?
Write it down?
The lamb looks at you like you just spoke in a dead language. Yeah, don't you have any pens or papers lying around somewhere?
Can't say we do, no. Do you?
Hey, you think about it, you never knew of other families besides your own that stocked up on pens and papers on the regular. It's probably a little presumptuous of you to expect Apollo to have any. He probably hasn't written anything himself since he last went to school. You know you haven't. It's possible there might be some hidden somewhere over at your place. However, you don't presently have the means to go back there without incurring Jasper's wrath. Seeing as though you aren't going to answer his query anytime soon, Apollo speaks up.
Anyway, if I recall correctly, Daphne works at the Blue Claw for Freeview Street. It's like a low-end brunch place or something. It's not too far away for you, is it?
Can't say I've ever been there. Hold on. You try to contact your distant advisor through thought alone while keeping Apollo distracted. Psst! Hey! Nats, can you look it up for me?
Already on it.
You hear the sound of fast typing on the end of the call.
Yeah, the address checks out, and so does the name. It's a pretty high-rated cafeteria in the old part of the city. Odd. The reviews are really high compared to all the other shops in the area.
Strange. That doesn't add up one bit with Apollo's earlier description of the place. Perhaps he's mixing it up with another locale. And yet, he seems pretty convinced that he's telling the truth. You suppose there's no harm in checking the place out yourself. I see. How far is it from here?
It's about 15-20 minutes on foot, give or take. Shouldn't be a problem to get there.
It doesn't sound like a huge undertaking, all things considered. Though you'd have helped him regardless, you definitely feel a lot better about this little favor between friends. You turn to speak to your Caprine friend once again, a more confident gaze in your eyes. That seems reasonable. I should be able to get there in time.
Really? Thank you so much. How are we, One Isaac?
Don't sweat it. Like I said, it's not a bother or anything.
Even so, I'll be sure to return a favor sooner or later. Assuming I remember. Maybe next time we come over, I could cook one of your favorites for dinner.
Now that's a courtesy you get used to, though you probably shouldn't take advantage of the poor boy like that. I appreciate the offer, but, well, we'll talk about this the next time we see each other. I'm gonna go now. Take care, alright?
You too. Let me know what Daphne thinks of a couscous, alright?
Of course. Catch you later. Upon leaving the apartment, Natalie addresses you once again.
Speaking of, you still haven't told me anything about Apollo's sister, even though we've practically been talking about her the entire time. What's she like?
You're not quite sure how to answer that question. That girl managed to be so many things at once, it's hard to sum it all up in one word. She's something, alright. She can be pretty difficult sometimes, but she can also be pretty cool when she wants to be. Though I hardly spend enough time with her to know for sure. Maybe you'll be able to get a good look at her. Maybe you'll be able to get a good look at her yourself once we see her today.
Chris, now let's get going. I can't wait to meet her.
With Natalie keeping your thoughts busy, you once again ascend the staircase leading out of the building, heading towards the cafe you've heard so much about. You calmly trek through the city in search of Daphne's workplace, careful of your surroundings like never before. The thought of somebody jumping you when you least expect it, like Jasper foretold, is likely going to haunt you for a long time to come. Luckily, you have Natalie by your side to keep track of where to go while you focus on your surroundings. You've never been down to these streets, and you most certainly never visited the bar that Apollo's sister works at. You wonder what sort of place it will turn out to be. After a brief journey on foot, however, you finally have an answer to your boundless curiosity. Ooh. Hey, is that Rook? Knew it.
Yeah, so that's something that we're doing. Well, we've done it twice now. Hopefully more often in the future. YCH backgrounds, where we tell people, hey, we got this background. There could be people in it. How about you put your character in the game? So yeah, that's what we did. And it turned out very nice, I think.
Yeah, looks really cool. Nice variety of characters on display. The Blue Coth is located in the busy corner of a small plaza you've never heard of, near a shimmering boutique and a colorful flower store. In spite of the locale's name, the color that dominates the view the most is red, which gives the place a warm, soothing atmosphere that you weren't quite expecting. Endless rows of tables lay in the space before the entrance proper, with most of them already occupied by young, dapper-looking people who seem very at ease amongst the elegant but relaxed environment. You wager the interior of the locale is just as packed as the exterior is, though you doubt you could get close enough to check without causing a stir. For now, you simply take a look from afar, ever cautious of the people present. Overall, this doesn't look like an awful place to stop and have a meal at. It's definitely nothing like how Apollo described it back at his place. So this is where Daphne works.
Weird. It looks so ordinary.
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing. I just thought that this place looks nothing like how I pictured it. For a place to sell reviews with so much public attention, I thought it turned out to be some kind of high-end establishment. But this looks just like any other regular bar.
It is quite strange indeed, especially considering what Apollo told you about this place back at his apartment. Inconsistencies keep piling up. Yeah, I had similar thoughts as well. This doesn't look like the hellhole Apollo described in the slightest. Then again, he was allegedly going off of Daphne's descriptions alone. It's possible that the human may have exaggerated some things to her brother, and that he took her jests as real complaints, though it's too early to say for certain. As to why this place is apparently so popular, maybe they have some sort of unique quality that's not immediately apparent?
Maybe. I think I'll go look up the reviews while you search for your friend, if that's alright.
The canine immediately gets to work tapping at her keyboard, only to suddenly stop a few seconds later.
Actually, scratch that. Maybe just send me a bunch of documents she wants me to sort through. Probably some stuff that she can't deal with right now, with her being busy tracking down the synthetic bodies and all.
Ah! You know about that.
Yeah, Mary told me about it last night as soon as she learned about it. I guess that if she sent these files over to me, she doesn't have anyone else available to take care of them right now. In theory, I'm supposed to give priority to you, but...
If she doesn't do this now, she'll have to do it later, and it's possible that this might impact her schedule somewhat. Truth be told, you don't really need the canine's assistance at present. It'd be impolite to force her to stay when you have no need of her services. It's alright. I could just look those reviews up on my own later on. If I were you, I'd just focus on those documents. The canine seems glad to hear you suggest that, if only a little reluctant.
Are you sure? I don't want you to feel like I'm abandoning you or anything.
You're not abandoning me. You're just taking a momentary break to deal with something important. Don't worry about me and take care of that stuff right away. I can look after myself until you're back. Hearing the confidence in your voice, the Labrador finally concedes to your suggestion.
Alright then, I'll be right back. Stay safe.
After these words of farewell, you can't hear anything else coming from the dog's side of the call. You're now officially on your own, at least until she returns. You should probably start looking into fulfilling Apollo's request. You didn't come here to idle about, after all. You take a long look at the cafe and at the people around you. Unfortunately, no matter how far you look, you can't find a trace of the human you're looking for. There are many waiters attending the tables outside, but none that resemble your friend. Maybe she's working inside? It wouldn't be a bad idea to go check that out. However, the curious and often unfriendly looks that the patrons and waiters are already casting in your direction are more than enough to stop you. You don't feel comfortable enough to navigate this crowd in search of Apollo's sister as it is. It'd probably be wiser to wait outside for her to show up on her own and deliver the lunchbox as soon as she does. With this idea in mind, you pick the closest available table, which luckily happens to be the last one... which luckily happens to be the one least surrounded by other customers, and sit down. With some luck, it won't take long for Daphne to show herself, or at the very least, someone who can point you in her direction. Now we wait. Eventually, a small, slender, and fairly young waiter finally notices you amidst the crowd, his white muzzle only growing paler as he does. At first, he ponders whether it's a wise idea to approach you at all, but he ultimately resigns himself to his fate. He takes a small tablet out of his pouch as he walks closer to your table. Ooh, crazy detailed character. The waiter, a dragon, approaches you with the uncertain steps, clearly a little thrown off by your peculiar disposition. Not that his any less peculiar by any means, though dragons are far from uncommon. You've definitely never seen one so colorful and unique before. The shapes and tones that adorn this person's fur, another feature that is uncommon amongst his species, are completely unlike anything you've ever seen. You simply cannot imagine them to be natural. He's also much shorter than most other drakes. Certainly much smaller than Jasper, and much cuter, though that goes without saying. You'd certainly be surprised by this uncommon sight, were this your first time seeing a furred drake in your life. However, you quite vividly recall an old friend you used to hang out with that looks somewhat similar to the man before you now, questionable mane colors aside.
May I help you?
His voice betrays his fear in spite of how hard he's trying to keep himself composed. You can hardly blame him. You're almost twice his size, and much scarier to boot. Not as much as that Harlan guy, though that is hardly any comfort to either of you. You can only hope that he realizes you're not a threat on his own before he starts having a panic attack. Yeah, I'm just about ready to order. May I? Hearing you speak seems to shock and surprise the Drake greatly for some reason. He raises an eyebrow for a moment, as if gauging something that not even he seems to clearly understand, until he realizes that he's gone too long without answering, and moves to correct that mistake.
Of course. What will you have?
You had a chance to look up the cafe's menu with Natalie while you were heading here, so you have a vague idea of what you want to try. I think I'm going to order some nachos with chili and sour cream, a handful of chicken sticks. Drake begins tapping his tablet with his fingers as you list your orders, while being careful not to damage its surface with his small claws. However, his gaze remains ever fixed on you. A glass of cola. Odd. You cannot seem to look away from the strange waiter either. Something about his looks thoroughly captures your attention, and you find yourself studying him from top to bottom like a student reviewing their notes before a big exam. Wait, hold on.
Is something wrong?
His species, his stature, what little you heard of his voice, and his attitude. So similar to his... It's also strangely familiar. There's no way the conclusion you reach can be true, and yet you cannot stop yourself from shouting it at the clueless waiter before you. Nem?
You can stop here.
Okay.
New character. But who is he? We don't know. We can probably stop here.
Okay. Alright. I love his design.
Yeah. This is one of two main characters that are based on, like, actual people's personas.
Ooh.
So yeah, I understand that to a lot of people, he looks like, quote-unquote, the patron character. But there's a reason why he looks, well, there's a reason that we made up for why he looks like that. So hopefully he ends up being some people's favorite as well.
He's adorable, I can say that.
Yeah. Definitely a bunch of people's favorite character.
Oh, did you want to notice, did you want to mention the itch.io bundle?
Oh, yeah. In the last few weeks, a bunch of stuff happened. Well, you know what happened. But basically, originally I thought that we could use the money from the Patreon coffee to help out Nick. But it turns out that digital dollars aren't really all that useful in a country that's currently being bombed to hell and back. So we currently paused the Patreon, then paused the coffee, and pretty much like put the entire thing on hold temporarily. We're still working on the game very slowly, but yeah, it's tough. If you guys want to help out Nick right now, our artist in Ukraine, you can buy the new itch.io Ukrainian bundle that just released today. It contains 900 something games, well, not just games, also books and similar stuff, which total are like $6,500 in value, but you can buy it for just $10. And well, you can also buy it for more if you want, but $10 is the minimum. And all proceeds go to charities, mainly to charities that help out like medical stuff, and also for children. You can read more details on itch.io. I'm gonna give Neri the link, and you guys can check it out for yourselves. I really recommend it. There's stuff like Celeste in there, Baba Is You, some really cool stuff. So yeah, go check it out and make a difference if you can.
Alright guys, you heard it there. I will definitely include the link in the description, but thank you so much, Sedge. I'm all the love and prayers and well wishes to that artist. I hope this stupid war is over soon. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, and please read the description because I will have that link in there. But anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.